Welcome to Inside the Chambers, where we here at Halsbury Chambers give you a unique insight into the world of business, law, and community development. I'm your host, Bria Tai, and today we're joined by special guest, Ms. Tamara Wiltshire, to discuss the beginning of her legal career and her commitment to social impact. Welcome to the podcast, Tamara, and thank you so much for taking the time to have this discussion with me. And thank you for joining us all the way from London, which is why we're on Zoom today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I'm glad that you asked.
Let's start with a little bit about your journey. Would you mind sharing a bit about your background?
Well, I am a child of expatriates. Both of my parents were teachers, and they came to the Bahamas from Guyana and settled in Grand Bahama. So, brought to the country at 4 years old, I settled in Bahamas in Grand Bahama with my parents, and been there ever since. I grew up there. That's all I know. I haven't even visited Guyana since moving to the Bahamas. Um, First, I went to the school that my mom taught at, which was St. Paul's Methodist College. And then I went to Pace. And after Pace, I went to Jack Haywood High and received a scholarship at Jack Haywood to attend Lucaya International School, which is an IB International Baccalaureate International School in the Bahamas. I think it's equivalent to St. Andrews. Um, so that's little bit about the school that I attended, and my parents, my background.
Thank you. So, what exactly inspired you to pursue a career in law?
It all started at a law firm that I did some school at. What happened was initially I thought that I would have been interested in the sciences, but after a while I realized that I think I had more of a proclivity for language and reading comprehension and analysis and writing. So I leaned towards into that. And because of that, I had a few teachers, you know, suggesting that, I consider law and consider debate. And it played on my mind for a while until I got a summer job at a top law firm in the Bahamas, in Grand Bahama. When I started to I guess, do my summer student role, I was surrounded by all of these brilliant attorneys. Um, they were the top in their fields. They were analytical. They were successful. They just being in that environment inspired me to do what they do. I'm like, okay, this seems doable. These are intelligent people. They're top in their sector, and it seems like a career that would lead to success. And me being a mother at that time, my eyes was on success, and so that inspired me or sparked my interest or desire to become a lawyer.
You and I, we met each other when we were in bar school. You told me you were involved in nonprofits in the Bahamas, and that nonprofit is Teen Life Skills Service. So,
Yes.
could you share a bit about the community work you began in the Bahamas?
The organization, like you said, is called Teen Life Skills Services, and it was a nonprofit geared towards the advancement and sustainable development of adolescent parents. So, what it was, because of my background of being a teen mother, as a matter of fact, I got pregnant with my daughter at 13 and had her at 14. I had always had a desire to give back to, other individuals or young mothers that shared similar backgrounds or circumstances. So I jumped on the opportunity to join or collaborate with the head of Teen Life Skills Services, and as a result of that, we were able to give or provide baby items to young mothers in the Bahamas, in Nassau and Grand Bahama, throughout their tenure at school. So while they were in school, we would try to provide items such as baby wipes, prams. Well, I didn't call them prams. Like
Yeah,
it's called prams in London, but
like
it's strollers.
strollers.
I got too Londonized now, but yeah, strollers and and all things baby. We would try to get to the young mothers, and also where there was an opportunity to assist them in upping their skills, resume writing, interview, going over interviews. We try to help them with that as well.
Once you moved to London, you were also working in the nonprofit sector. Could you explain your transition from being in the Bahamas to then going to London to work at nonprofit organizations?
I had a few desires for when I come to London. I didn't want to just, come here and just go to school. I wanted to also continue my work in nonprofit and, delivering social impact in whichever space that I occupy. So one of the first things that I did was apply to become a volunteer for a organization called Little Village, which was very similar to what I did back home. It was a baby bank. So families that were in need in the community of Hackney would come to the baby bank and we would provide them with baby items, clothing, whatever it is that they needed that we had, Pampers. So I did that. And whilst I was doing that, I mentioned to my supervisor that I was seeking employment as well because, I've worked my entire adulthood at that up to that point. I had worked the entire time and I wanted to work as well as go to school. So she suggested that I apply for the role of community giving and partnerships coordinator at Hackney Giving, which is the role that I now possess.
Wow. So, what would you say the main aims and values of Hackney Giving are?
Hackney Giving is a program run by Hackney CVS. Hackney CVS is a non-profit organization that funds, supports charities in the community. So whether it be if say a local organization or somebody or individuals want to create a local organization, Hackney Given would provide advice and guidance as to how to create a charity, how to abide by the laws of London with regards to, opening that said charity. There's other focuses or aims as far as health and social care and also catering or targeting people of all ethnicities, faith, and background. So yeah, and the program that I work for, Hackney Given, we fund other charities. So while we're a charity in ourselves, we fund charities in the community. So whether they, we run grants funding. We also support them in other ways if they need advice or if they want help with running programs. We try to, or also if they need items for their to run their organization for capacity building, we try to offer advice there as well. So whether it be financial, time, resources, skills, Hackney Given assists
So,
or tries to assist.
is that the work you primarily handle, helping organizations get started and helping with their funding as well?
Well, my role as community giving and partnerships coordinator is basically me, or essentially me, building relationships with businesses, with the community, with individuals, so that they could support Hackney Given, so that we can in turn support the charities who we, support. Yeah, so it's just making contact with the businesses, advocating for Hackney Given and the charities that we do support, building those relationships, maintaining them and sustaining them so that we can get the support that we need.
Would you mind sharing what a typical day looks like for you?
I work from home primarily, but a typical work day, when I do have to go into office, I work in South London, so it's about an hour away from the actual office. So about 7:30 I wake up. I don't have to wake up too late because I'm not charged with being in the office at exactly 9 o'clock. I can be there anywhere from 9:30 to 10. So I'll wake up, do the morning routine and then head to the train station so that I can catch my train to central London, Hackney. By times I reach to work, I have my tea and my little crumpets. And then I begin, writing emails, answering emails, making calls. Some days I may have an event to attend, which caters around charities and nonprofits and what we can do to the community, in the community, sorry. Also, some days at one point I had to also, I coordinated an event. So sometimes I have to coordinate events, visit sites. It's a lot of walking sometimes. Particularly last week, what we've been doing is going out and spending about an hour and a half going into different businesses and sharing our leaflets so that the community could know or learn more about Hackney Given and what it is that we do. So been making connections that way. So then after doing, just outreach and getting people to know and learn about Hackney, I would head home. Like I say, it's about an hour and a half journey home, and then prepare for the next day.
Well, Tamara, what you're doing is extremely commendable. And I just wanted to ask you, how do you think we can get more lawyers and young professionals to get involved in community service?
Community service is, it is important, and it's something that many are interested in, and are, everybody has the ability to do something. It doesn't necessarily always have to be, giving funds. It could just be giving your time or giving resources that you may have. But if we could communicate the motivation and the benefits behind community work, a lot of people don't understand how the joy of actually giving back. And there is that identifiable joy of giving back, and knowing that you're servicing your community. And there's also benefit in being a part of something that is impactful,
Right.
and important work. So I think young lawyers should have that knowledge of the benefits to themselves, not only themselves but also to their community. And where they don't have that, or they don't know how they can do that, or where they fit in, I would charge young lawyers to just think about what it is that they're passionate about outside of being in the boardroom or the conference room or the courtroom. What social ill kind of tugs at your heartstrings that you're interested in, being a difference, or feel that you could be a difference based on your story and your background, because everybody has a story, and everybody has, experiences that they can bring to the table. So it doesn't matter if you never done it before. It's something that is it accessible to everyone. So if they can identify something that they're passionate about, and then try to research how or which options that are available to them. Legal advice, I know that's something that the bar board has pushed or has encouraged young lawyers to join, like a legal advice clinic, so that they can
Right.
give free legal advice. And that's a way that young lawyers could provide community service or deliver social value. And also, if they want to join groups such as Rotaract or Kiwanis, there are different ways in doing community service, and you could maybe even create your own organization. But yeah, I think it's important for them to understand the benefits, not only for themselves and the joy that you get, but also to the community, and the importance of delivering social impact, because there's so many social ills, and we're always saying, well, how is this happening, or why is this happening? But it's good to get involved in the primary justice element. We all want justice, but justice on the level where there's equality with children being able to access all of education, and even if they aren't able to get education, maybe after school programs. So there are gaps that can be filled. There's actually a great need for more people working in the community.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Tamara. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Inside the Chambers. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned for more videos soon.